financial, mental health, and mediation services. Report hate by calling 833-NO-HATE or visiting californiaversushate.org. We will now proceed with the land acknowledgement. The following acknowledgement has been adapted by the Acknowledgement of the Muwekme Ohlone Tribe. We acknowledge with gratitude the city of Oakland is on the traditional and ancestral lands of the Uchun, which is part of the Muwekme Ohlone tribe. The land on which we gather today and its surrounding areas was and continues to be of great importance to the Muwekme Ohlone tribe and other familial descendants of the Verona Band. The present-day Muwekme Ohlone tribe is comprised of all known surviving American Indian lineages, aboriginal to the San Francisco Bay region, who trace their ancestry through the Mission, Dolores, Santa Clara, and San Jose, and who were also members of the historic federally recognized Verona Band of Alameda County. We are grateful for all the indigenous people who continue to care for and remain interconnected with this land. We promise to be conscientious stewards of this land for the future generations and are committed to ensuring inclusion of indigenous people to inform the California Youth Empowerment Commission. Okay. It is with tremendous excitement that we welcome everyone to the inaugural California Youth Empowerment Commission first public meeting. My name, thank you. We thank you for all who joined us for our commissioner's inauguration prior to this meeting, and welcome you all. My name is Tamisha Wallace. I am honored to serve as the executive director for the commission. We are meeting today truly to just begin organizing the commission's operations and to share baseline information with all commissioners and public that will inform the work of the commission moving forward. I will be facilitating the meeting for the first half until we elect the chair and a vice chair. Right. So we have a pretty full agenda for today. We will begin with a welcome and call to order, introduction of distinguished guests. Then we will move to opening remarks. We have a video from our Director of the Office of Community Service and Engagement. And our welcome will begin by establishing quorum to confirm that we have enough commissioners gathered to discuss the progress of the commission business. Next, we will following that, we will then have the selection of our chair and our vice chair, and then break for a quick recess. Following our break, our agenda will view two key items that define the commission purpose and structure. First, the commission will review and vote and approve on the commission's bylaws. We will then have a presentation that provides an overview of the Bagley-Keene Act, which outlines the general requirements of how the commission will operate. The last few agenda items will include my executive director's report to provide the commissioners and public with an update of the staff activities, and then an overview of the commission's priority and training opportunities from the Possibility Lab at UC Berkeley. An initial discussion about elevating youth voice in policy and legislation will conclude our meeting. Each agenda item will include an opportunity for attendees to deliver a public comment, and we will then adjourn the meeting. Augustine Arreola, External Affairs Manager and Strategic Growth Council, will lead the roll call to establish the quorum and provide an overview of the public comment process.
Thank you, Director Tamisha. I will begin roll call with Commissioner Melanie Acosta Parra. When you hear your name, please say here or present.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Raj Butoria.
Present.
Commissioner Madison Chung Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Brianna Shea Della Maggiore.
Here.
Commissioner Aiden Lynn Tostado.
Present.
Commissioner Trevor Morrow. Here. Commissioner Colin McCarthy. Commissioner Jessica Me.
Present.
Commissioner Giselle Morris.
Present.
Commissioner Wednesday Pope.
Present.
Commissioner Adelina Ramirez.
Present.
Commissioner Avanti Ra Ram Ram Ra Ra and Raj. Apologies about that. I'll get that next time.
Present.
Commissioner Andrea Terrones.
Present.
Commissioner Sarah Yee.
Present.
Thank you. We have at least 8 out of the 15 commissioners here with us today. We have achieved quorum.
Thank you, Augustine. We will now take any public comment related to agenda item number 1, the welcome.
Thank you to everyone joining us today, online or by phone through the Zoom webinar platform, or by tuning in on YouTube where the meeting is being live streamed. I'm here to provide some information to help guide us all through the processes for this hybrid meeting, which we have designed with the intention of maximizing access by members of the public. Please note, we are providing interpretation services to Spanish online for this meeting. If you are joining us by Zoom, locate the toolbar at the bottom of the Zoom window. Look for the interpretation button, which may appear as a globe icon. Click on the interpretation button to access language interpretation options. A pop-up window will appear with a list of available languages for interpretation. You can select your preferred language from that list by clicking on it. Por favor, noten que estamos proporcionando servicios de interpretación en español en la línea para esta junta. Si nos acompaña a través de Zoom, localice la barra de herramientas en la parte inferior de la ventana de Zoom. Busque el botón que dice Interpretación, que puede aparecer como un icono de globo terráqueo, y haga clic en el botón. Aparecerá una ventana emergente con una lista de idiomas disponibles para la interpretación. Ahí puede seleccionar Español. For those joining the webinar online via Zoom or by phone, please note that your microphone is automatically muted when you join. In order to minimize the risk of background noise, you will not be able to unmute your phone yourself. For those joining online via Zoom, please note that the webinar platform doesn't enable video for attendees, so we will not be able to see you. If you need technical assistance during the meeting or have a question about the meeting process, there are a few ways to contact us. If you are using the online Zoom webinar, the best way is by using the Q&A function with several members of the Youth Empowerment Commission team monitoring it. If you joined by phone and you have access to email, please email youthempowermentcommission@oprca.onmicrosoft.com. To submit in-person public comment, you can pick up a public comment card by the sign-in table outside or at any of the podiums located up at the front of this room, and return it to us up front here. If you plan to make public comment virtually, you must be joining the meeting via Zoom, either through the webinar or the phone option. You can visit youthempowermentcommission.opr.ca.gov/meetings and complete the public comment form link there. You need to complete a separate form for each item on which you wish to speak. You may complete a form at any time during the meeting. When the chair opens a public comment period for your item, we will call on your name. When you hear your name in that list, please raise your hand. To do this online in a Zoom webinar, click Raise Hand under the Participants menu. You can find that at the bottom of your screen. To raise your hand by phone, press *9. When it is your turn to speak, a member of our team will unmute your microphone. If you are online, you will see a window pop up alerting you that the host is unmuting you. You will need to click the option to approve unmute. After that, you can begin to speak. If you're on the phone, you will hear a recorded message alerting you that your line is unmuted. You can then begin to speak. Each speaker will have a maximum of 2 minutes to make their remarks. Speakers requiring or using translation services are allotted 4 minutes to facilitate full participation. If you're online, you'll see a timer pop up on your screen. Please monitor that and wrap up your remarks accordingly. Whether you are online or on the phone, the chair or staff will notify you when your time is up. After that, we will mute your microphone. You do not need to take any additional action. If you are unable to complete the online form but would like to submit a public comment, please email Youth Empowerment Commission at oprca.onmicrosoft.com. At this moment, we do not have any public comments for item number 1. I will hand it back to you, Director Tamisha.
Thank you, Augustine. We'll now move forward to the introduction of any distinguished guests. We may be joined throughout this meeting by several distinguished guests, and we would like to recognize any of their attendance with us today. If there is any elected officials, leaders, or staff representing an elected official with us today, please let us know you are here. We thank the leaders who share their support with this commission, either themselves or through their staff. We are appreciative of their support at this inaugural meeting of the California Youth Empowerment Commission as we embark on the work of the commission. We understand that we will achieve the greatest impact by working alongside those who recognize the importance of centering young people on addressing the needs and issues that impact them and who are committed to finding ways to foster youth inclusion in the state of California. We are excited by the possibility and invite our guests today to engage with the commission in our work. We have any distinguished guests present? Can you share which elected official you're representing today? Thank you for your representation and support. We'll now move to agenda item number 3, opening remarks. We will hear from our Chief Service Officer, Josh Friday, who has prepared a welcome video for the commission.
Welcome, commissioners. My name is Josh Friday, and on behalf of GoServe and Governor Newsom, thank you. Thank you for stepping up to take on this incredibly important role for our state. You are taking the first step in really embodying what it means to be a Californian, to step up and serve, to take care of others, to be a voice for those who don't have a voice, and we appreciate it. And we're also counting on you. We're counting on you to take this job seriously. We're counting on you to be a voice for your generation. We're counting on you to help us think about how do we continue to engage young people across the state of California to solve some of our really big challenges, whether it's climate change or poverty or homelessness. We need you. And that's why we're so grateful that you've stepped up, that you're taking on this important role. You are a trailblazer. It is exciting that you are the first class of our commissioners for the Youth Empowerment Commission. And we are so excited for what is in store for you and for all of us and for the state of California. So thank you. I look forward to working with you, and I hope to see you soon.
We thank Josh for his remarks to the commission. We will now move along to our first order of business, which is the selection of a chair and vice chair for our commission. Since the commissioner's appointment back in July, we've been in communication with the members, letting them know that we will need to select commission membership. We reached out and asked for interest in both the chair and vice chair roles, and we had a few commissioners reach out to express their interests. As you see here, for the role of chair, Wednesday Pope, Adelina Ramirez, Trevor Merrill, and Raj Bhutori all threw their names in the ring for the chair position. For vice chair, the same commissioners minus Raj. Since there is no chair at this time, I will facilitate the nomination and voting process for the chair and vice chair. Because we have more than one candidate for each position, we will conduct a roll call vote to elect the commissioners to the office. So here's an overview of how our election process will go. We will begin with nominations for the chair and vice chair positions. After nominations are established, each nominated commissioner will have a brief opportunity to share about themselves and their interest in the nominated role. We will then take public comment before the commissioners begin the voting process. Nominations are now in order for the office of chair. Commissioners may nominate themselves or another commissioner. Nominations are open to any commissioner and not limited to those who have already expressed their interest in the office. Are there any nominations for the office of chair? So,
I.
sorry. If you wish to nominate a commissioner, you can state their name and for which position. For this go round, we're nominating for the chair position. So you can either nominate yourself or nominate a fellow commissioner.
I nominate myself for chair or vice chair.
Commissioner Wednesday is nominated.
I nominate myself, Adelina Ramirez, as chair.
Commissioner Adelina is nominated.
Nominate myself, Avanti Ramraj, as chair or vice chair.
Commissioner Avanti is now nominated.
I nominate myself, Raj Batoria, as chair.
Commissioner Raj is now nominated.
I nominate myself, Trevor Merrill, as chair or vice chair of the commission.
Commissioner Trevor is now nominated. Are there any further nominations?
Point of information, is this just for chair or vice chair as well?
Just for chair. If not, nominations for the chair position are now closed. For vice chair nominations, for those who nominated yourself for both, can you please repeat if you're nominating yourself for vice chair?
My name is Wednesday Pope and I nominate myself for vice chair.
My name is Adelina Ramirez, and I also nominate myself for vice chair.
My name is Avanti Ramraj, and I also nominate myself for vice chair.
I, Aiden Lintosalo, nominate myself for vice chair.
I, Trevor Merrill, nominate myself for vice chair.
Are there any further nominations? If not, nominations are now closed for the office of vice chair. Nominated commissioners may now share a few words about themselves and their interest in this office, if they would like. We will move across the dais from left to right, and then any commissioners who are joining virtually and are nominated. We will conduct this rotation only once, so if you're nominated for chair or vice chair, you will only share your remarks once. If you are nominated for more than one office and choose to share a few words, you may use your turn to address your interest in both offices, although that is not required. So moving from left to right, we will begin with Aiden.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aiden Lintosalo. My pronouns are he, him, his. It's really.
I'm sorry, Aiden, just real quick. Remarks are limited to 2 minutes each person. Just wanted to start us off there.
Thank you. I'm a proud Mexican American, Taiwanese American, member of the LGBTQIA plus community and community organizer down in San Diego. And it would be my honor to serve as your vice chair. I really think that together we can transform this commission from a brand new commission into a hub for youth power and youth voice across the state of California, representing our diverse interests. A bit about myself. I co-founded Our Time to Act, which is a youth-led 501c3 nonprofit 6 years ago in high school. And we focus a lot on housing justice and youth power. We're leading our first youth organizing summit in San Diego in 2 weekends. So if you happen to be in San Diego, we'd be happy to have you. But I also now serve as a full-time staff member of Nonviolent Peace Force, which is an international nonprofit looking to increase civilian-led protection and reimagine community safety for ourselves, and really follows the adage, we keep us safe. In terms of my priorities for vice chair, I'd like to help us establish structure. Using my experience as a co-founder of a nonprofit, I think we can really engage in a robust co-creative process for strategy to figure out how we as youth commissioners can really occupy space and build youth power for our priorities. I'd also love to increase commissioner agency. So whatever I can do personally as vice chair, whether that's be a sounding board, be a friend, find ways to increase our confidence as we advance our own priorities in one-on-one meetings and in the commission. I'd love to fill that role. And then finally, work on things that I'm also passionate about, like housing justice, civic engagement, and community safety.
Thank you, Aiden. Raj.
Thank you, Director Wallace. My fellow youth commissioners, my name is Raj Batoria, and today it is my honor to humbly ask for your nomination as your chair. At 14, I often said, we may not have a vote yet, but we have a voice. This was our rallying cry, facing a system where decisions were made every day about our future, but we were deemed too young to comment. Like many of you, I refuse to accept this. It's why I served as the founding chair of Congressman Ro Khanna's Student Advisory Committee, to bring youth voices into national policy. It's why I've worked just down the street with District Attorney Nancy O'Malley to fight for youth affected by domestic violence and sexual assault. It's why I've worked hard to elevate the voices of youth on mental health, homelessness, and education equity within our state legislature and the U.S. House of Representatives. At 24, these experiences have shown me firsthand the transformative power of youth action. My vision for the impact of this commission is one greater than ourselves. It is to inspire a model for actionable youth leadership, not just in California, but across the nation. I want the youth of America to see what's possible when our generation unites and to take action themselves. Commissioners, if elected your chair, I pledge to honor every voice, perspective, and idea equally. We will draw on our mutual experience to be a commission where every member has the autonomy to lead on the issues they're passionate about. Whether it be through forming ad hoc committees, passing policy recommendations, or fostering partnerships with other youth organizations, I will work tirelessly to ensure that this commission is not just a forum, but a force. This is our pivotal moment as youth, and it will be my honor to both serve and learn from each of you as your chair. So thank you, everyone, for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Raj. Adelina.
Good evening to my fellow commissioners as well as distinguished guests. My name is Adelina Ramirez, and I'm currently a senior in high school in San Diego. And I'll briefly begin by saying this. Early on, one of my mentors shared with me that oftentimes people like me will not find a seat at the table. But even then, if there isn't a seat, to bring a chair, sit down, and enact change. In that same empowering spirit, I would be honored to serve as your chair of California's inaugural Youth Empowerment Commission. As a student who values crucial opportunities for youth advocacy, I first-handedly know the valuable impact and importance this position would have for all of us, both as commissioners and community members. As an Enterprise Fellow in San Diego, I've had the opportunity to engage in public policy spaces and step into incredible work settings where I'm able to engage with my community and peers alike. Through this fellowship, I traveled to Washington, D.C., meeting with notable politicians on Capitol Hill, including our very own Senator Alex Padilla, and had the honor to speak and meet with Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. In serving as student chair of San Diego Unified's Committee on Racial Justice and Equity, similar to the goal of this committee, I've been able to work to pass policies that put students first. And I'm so excited to say that by working with UCSD's Center for Teaching Excellence and Equity, I've worked with underrepresented students and has likewise put their policies first. Now, with that being said, in spaces where youth are oftentimes referred to as the change makers of the future, I call on us as commissioners, as well as our community members, to take into account that we are the change makers of the now. I strongly believe that my unwavering dedication and commitment to social justice has provided a strong foundation, and I'm eager to courageously lean into my extensive qualifications and step into this incredible opportunity. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Adelina. Avanti.
Hi, everyone. My name is Avanti Brahmaraj, and I am a current junior at Stanford University, where I study human biology and public policy. I think it's really important to know that healthcare is something that's going to be all of a part of our lives, no matter, if we expect it or not. You might have a family member who's sick. You might have someone who needs the care of an important team. When I did my training to become an emergency medical technician, I understood firsthand how important it is for any team, whether it be one that's the first to respond when someone calls 911, or a team like we are as youth commissioners, to be able to work together and understand each other. And as an only child, I know how important it is to feel included in spaces where I didn't feel included because I didn't have anybody that was just like me or part of my family. And so instead of talking more about what I've done in my life, I want to tell you about what I think I can bring to you as a commission. And I truly think it is those values of inclusion and honesty, as well as knowing what it is like to know that in high pressure situations like this is, when we have so much on our hands as children at ages 14 to 25, we can still make a difference. And something that I used to say when I did robotics and speech and debate was that what was most important to me was the opportunities I was given, the ability to afford to do robotics or other programs like that. And that's something I really stand for, more schools having those kinds of programs, because that is the only way that every kid can understand and overcome the perception that it's unfeasible to change the world as a kid. And that's what's most important to me. And I think in the end, no matter how amazing all of our accomplishments are, the schools we go to, and the amazing things I've learned about all these commissioners, we're just kids that want to learn to make a difference. And I think vice chair and chair are roles that give those people the voice. And I hope to provide just that for all of you. And also in my training as an EMT and also working through the state treasurer's office at Fiona Ma, I know what it's like to have a lot of money as the fifth largest economy in the nation, not in the nation, the fifth largest economy in the world in California, what it's like to have big priorities and need to know what to delegate, where to put money into what things. And so working under the state treasurer for the past 5 years taught me exactly that. And so priorities will also be an important thing that I can help us keep track of as vice or vice chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Avanti. Wednesday.
Hello, my name is Wednesday Pope, and I'm volunteering for the role of Youth Empowerment Commission Chair or Vice Chair. My experience advocating for youth-related issues in California State Senate and Assembly hearings has made me well-versed in the processes that occur in meetings of this nature. During these hearings, I have given testimony on panels for youth-related bills and budget issues. My experience participating in the legislative process, as well as my general experience with public speaking and advocacy leadership, has equipped me with the insight, skills, and knowledge necessary to organize and lead meetings of the Commission. As a youth advocate, I value the diverse lived experiences of all youth. My advocacy is primarily motivated by my lived experience. I am a former foster youth, former homeless youth, college student, disabled youth, LGBTQ+ youth, and have experienced poverty from a young age. I chose to channel my lived experience into inciting positive change. Advocating and leading the way for youth who have experienced or are currently experiencing adversity is the driving force of the work that I do and the foundational reason I joined the Commission. In the chair position, I intend to encourage inclusion of all perspectives, transparency, strong communication, and active coordination with my fellow commissioners to create the shared voice we will have as the Youth Empowerment Commission. Thank you, and I look forward to serving with you.
Thank you, Wednesday. Trevor.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Trevor. It's wonderful to be with you all. I'm running for the office of chair or vice chair. I was born and raised about an hour away from here in a lovely city called Santa Rosa, with my single mom of 4 and my older sister Kira helping take care of me. Like everyone here, my desire to serve on this commission was driven from my lived experience as a homeless youth, as an LGBT kid, and as a person who was failed by our mental health system. And that's what drives me to be here today and drives me to run for chair. I'm not here because any of this stuff worked for me. I'm here because it didn't. And that's what drives all of the work that I do. My leadership experience spans a variety of roles and responsibilities. I served in the California Democratic Party. I currently serve as an officer at large of the Sonoma County Commission on Human Rights, where every day we're making progress, uplifting people who are unhoused, people going through crises with mental health, who Our institutions have failed as they try to seek disability accommodations. But I also served for 4 years in the United States Marine Corps. So I'm accustomed to working under high levels of scrutiny and under intense pressure. In bringing that experience to this role, I emphasize that I am a consensus builder. I'm a team player. I am not afraid to be a voice to anyone in any position if it means serving this commission. I serve our interests, I serve our commissioners, and I will be that interrupter that we heard about earlier. I believe it in my heart, and I want to take my lived experience and guide us in a direction that is focused on the issues about being pragmatic and compassionate and uplifting every set of powerful, diverse voices we have in the room. So thank you. I'm honored to be with you all today.
Before we move to voting, can we please give these young commissioners a round of applause? Regardless of who's elected as chair and vice chair, I'm honored that you all are transparent and sharing your truths and your experience. And I'm excited. I'm literally having chills right now just by the experience of this commission. So regardless of how this voting process goes, thank you all for your commitment and for sharing your truths with us today. Before we begin voting, we will move to public comment. Do we have any public comments related to this agenda item?
We do not have any public comment for this item.
Okay, since we have more than one candidate that was nominated for the office of chair and vice chair, we will move forward with a roll call vote. We will facilitate a roll call vote for each office. If no candidate receives a majority vote, we will conduct additional rounds of the roll call votes after removing the nomination with the fewest votes. That makes sense, okay. Commissioners, you will be asked to state your vote for each position or whether you abstain. When your name is called, an example of what you can state is for the office of chair and name the commissioner. For the office of vice chair, name the following commissioner. Or you can state whether you abstain for voting. Augustine, can you please call the roll call vote?
Thank you. I will begin with Commissioner Melanie Acosta Parra.
For office of chair, I vote for Commissioner Wednesday Pope. And then just to clarify, do I also vote for
Vice
the
chair.
vice chair?
Yes.
For office of vice chair, I vote for Commissioner Aiden.
Commissioner Raj Batoria.
For the office of chair, I vote myself. And for the office of vice chair, I vote Aiden.
Commissioner Madison Chung Lee.
For the position of chair, I vote Wednesday Pope, and for the position of vice chair, I vote Aiden.
Commissioner Brianna Shea Della Maggiore.
I abstain.
Do you abstain for both? Commissioner Aiden Lynn Tostada.
For position of chair, I vote Adelina Ramirez. And for position of vice chair, I vote Commissioner Raj Batoria.
I don't believe Raj is nominated for vice chair.
Oh, shoot. My bad. Then for position of vice chair, I vote myself.
Thank you. Commissioner Trevor Morrell.
For the position of chair, I vote for myself, and for the position of vice chair, I vote for Wednesday Pope.
Thank you. Commissioner Colin McCarthy. Apologies. Commissioner Jessica Mee.
For the position of chair, I vote Wednesday Pope. For the position of vice chair, I vote Aiden.
Thank you. Commissioner Giselle Morris.
For position of chair, I vote Avanti Ramraj, and for position of vice chair, I vote Trevor Morel.
To confirm, for chair, you are voting for Avanti?
Yes.
And can you repeat your choice for vice chair?
Trevor Morel.
Thank you. Commissioner Wednesday Pope.
For chair, I vote myself, and for vice chair, I vote Trevor Morel.
Thank you. Commissioner Adelina Ramirez.
For the office of chair, I nominate, or vote for myself, excuse me, and for vice chair, Aiden.
Thank you. Commissioner Avanti Ramaraj.
For position of chair, I vote for myself, and for position of vice chair, I nominate Trevor Morel.
Thank you. Commissioner Andrea Terrenas.
For position of chair, I vote Wednesday Pope. For position of vice chair, I vote Aiden Lynn Tostado.
Thank you. Commissioner Jocelyn Weinstock.
For position of chair, I vote Wednesday Pope, and for position of vice chair, I vote Adelina Ramirez.
Commissioner Sarah Yip.
For position of chair, I vote Commissioner Wednesday Pope, and for position of vice chair, I vote Commissioner Avanti Ramraj.
The following votes for each of the commission, for chair are 2 in favor of Adelina, 7 in favor of Wednesday, 1 in favor of Raj, 1 in favor of Trevor, 2 in favor of Avanti, meaning nobody met the majority. But the top 2 voters are Wednesday and Avanti. So we will proceed with another roll call after we establish vice chair. For vice chair, the votes are as follow. Wednesday received 1 vote. Adelina received 1 vote. Avanti received 1 vote. Aiden received 7 votes. And Trevor received 3. Here, we will have Aiden and Trevor advanced to the next round as the top 2 vote getters. And for vice chair, and for chair, we will have Wednesday and Avanti advance to the next round. Director Tamisha, would you like to explain how we continue with this round?
Yes, we will conduct another roll call vote. When your name is called, please vote for either Wednesday or for, apologies, who's the second candidate? Avanti, for the role of chair.
Thank you. I will begin with Commissioner Melanie Acosta Parra.
For the office of chair, I vote for Commissioner Wednesday Pope. And are we also doing vice chair or just?
Just chair.
Just chair.
Commissioner Raj.
For the office of chair, I vote Wednesday Pope.
Commissioner Madison.
For the position of chair, I vote Wednesday Pope.
Commissioner Brianna.
For the position of chair, I vote Wednesday Pope.
Commissioner Aiden.
For the position of chair, I vote Avanti Ramraj. Sorry.
Commissioner Trevor.
For the position of chair, I vote for Wednesday Pope.
Commissioner Jessica.
For the position of chair, I vote for Wednesday Pope.
Commissioner Adelina.
The position of chair, I vote for Avanti Ramraj.
Commissioner Avanti.
For the position of chair, I vote myself.
Commissioner Wednesday.
For the position of chair, I vote myself.
Commissioner Andrea.
For the position of chair, I vote Wednesday Pope.
Commissioner Jocelyn.
For the position of chair, I vote Wednesday Pope.
Commissioner Sarah.
For the position of chair, I vote Avanti Ramraj.
Thank you. Did I miss any commissioners for the voting?
You missed me.
Apologies, commissioners Giselle.
I vote Avanti Ramraj.
Okay, the vote count are as follows. We have 9 in favor of Wednesday and 5 in favor of Avanti. The winner is Wednesday. Moving on to Vice Chair, our top 2 are Commissioner Aiden, and Commissioner Trevor. When we call on your name, please state your choice. Commissioner Melanie.
For the office of Vice Chair, I vote for Commissioner Aiden.
Commissioner Raj.
For the office of Vice Chair, I vote Commissioner Aiden.
Commissioner Madison.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote Aiden.
Commissioner Brianna.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote Commissioner Trevor.
Commissioner Aiden.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote for myself.
Commissioner Trevor.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote for myself.
Commissioner Jessica.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote for Commissioner Eden.
Commissioner Giselle.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote Trevor Morrell.
Commissioner Wednesday.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote Commissioner Trevor.
Commissioner Adelina.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote for Commissioner Aiden.
Commissioner Avanti.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote Commissioner Aiden.
Commissioner Andrea.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote Commissioner Aiden Lintostado.
Commissioner Jocelyn.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote for Commissioner Aiden.
Commissioner Sarah.
For the position of Vice Chair, I vote Commissioner Aiden.
Thank you. The results are 10 in favor of Commissioner Aiden and 4 in favor of Commissioner Trevor, with Commissioner Aiden nominated as Vice Chair.
Commissioner Wednesday, congratulations. You are now the inaugural chair of the California Youth Empowerment Commission. Congratulations, Aiden, on being the inaugural vice chair of the California Youth Empowerment Commission. Can you all join me in congratulating them both and being our first serving officer? I will now turn over the agenda and a script to our new chair, Wednesday, to facilitate the rest of our meeting.
Thank you, Director Wallace. Thank you as well to my fellow commissioners for voting for me, and thank you for your confidence in me. I hope to be a fantastic chair and to lead us in creating a strong voice and making us heard in the legislature. All right. At this time, we will take a 10-minute recess. We will return at 7 p.m. It is currently 6:55. So 7:05. Thank you.
Had some things down, but I couldn't
You had like a picture.
Very inspirational. And very well prepared. Sorry,
Let's start right here.
Sound setting.
Yeah.
I thought about that too. I was.
Oh, you weren't. Oh, okay.
I was in the impression.
Thing is on, perfect. We will now move on to our next agenda item, which is to review and approve the commission bylaws. These bylaws govern the internal operations, procedures, and conduct of the commission. The commission staff have drafted an initial set of bylaws that are publicly posted on the commission's website, youthempowerment.california, or just ca.gov. The next slide provides an overview of the articles and sections included in the bylaws.
So this is a very high level view of the bylaws drafted by staff. Starting with Article 1, a name, we have a purpose, details outlining our membership. What does that look like for active members, quorum, and adjournment of our meeting process? We have an article on our meeting process, on the officer selection, the selection of chair and vice chair, which we just proceeded with prior to this agenda item, an article on budget, ad hoc committees, the amendment of the bylaws, and the dissolution of the commission. I will make a recommendation that the now elected chair and vice chair write a preamble for the bylaws. I think with youth voice now being in the space, I think that should be an inclusion process of you two that really represents what you want this commission to be.
Is there any discussion, questions, or comments from the commission on this item?
Yeah, if anyone has any thoughts about the preamble or what you'd like included, that I guess just send over ideas to Wednesday and I. And maybe we can ask the superintendent to have them teach it to every high school in, I'm just kidding. What an idea.
And I would like to let the commissioners know that they do have the option to pass bylaws now and bring amendments to the next meeting. Before we call for the motion, I would like to open it up for public comment related to this agenda item of approval of bylaws. Do we have any public comments?
As a reminder, to submit in-person public comment, you can pick up a public comment card by the sign-in table outside or at the podium located at the front of this room, and return it to us up here at any moment prior to the agenda item you wish to comment on. There are no public comment items. There are no public comment for this item. Back to you, Chair Pope.
I would like to reiterate, does the commission have anything they would like to state on this agenda item? No, we will continue. We will now check if the commission is ready to make a first motion and second. A first motion and second are required to vote on any commission action items. Any commissioner may make a motion. For example, a commissioner may make a first motion by saying, "I move that we approve the commission bylaws," or "I move that we approve the commission bylaws with the following amendment." A commissioner who agrees with that motion may make a second motion, which can sound like "second" or "I second that motion." Both a first and second motion are required to move into voting. If there is no second, the motion is not discussed. I invite the commissioners to make motions on this agenda item.
I motion to approve the bylaws.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Avanti Ramraj and Commissioner Trevor Morel have made a first and second motion to approve the commission bylaws. We will now take a roll call vote on this motion. When your name is called, please vote yay or nay on whether to approve the bylaws.
Thank you. I will begin the roll call with Commissioner Melanie Acosta Parra,
Yay.
Commissioner Raj,
Yay.
Commissioner Madison,
Yay.
Commissioner Brianna,
Yay.
Commissioner Aiden,
Yay.
Commissioner Trevor,
Yay.
Commissioner Jessica,
Yay.
Commissioner Giselle,
Yay.
Commissioner Wednesday,
Yay.
Commissioner Adelina,
Yay.
Commissioner Avanti,
Yay.
Commissioner Andrea,
Yay.
Commissioner Jocelyn,
Yay.
Commissioner Sarah. Commissioner Sarah, can you vote on? Commissioner Sarah, you're still muted. Commissioner, you can give us a thumbs up if you would like to vote.
Hello.
Hi. Are you in favor of passing the motion for the bylaws?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Back to you, Chair Pope.
The motion is passed. Our commission bylaws are now approved and are effective immediately. We will now move on to our next agenda item. Bagley Keene Act Overview by Shannon Clark, Senior Staff Counsel at the Governor's Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. So I am going to talk to you. Hopefully everyone can hear me all right. I'm going to talk to you today about the Bagley Keene Open Meetings Act, which governs how the commission handles its meetings. So next slide. Oops, I'm one ahead of you. We can go to the next one too. So what is the Bagley Keene Open Meetings Act? It guarantees public participation at all meetings of a state body. There are several principles that it is meant to further. The first is that public agencies are here to serve California citizens. The second is that agency actions must be open and accessible. And the third is that the public must be informed and involved in agency decision-making. Next slide. So, what state bodies are subject to the Act? So first is a state board, commission, or similar multi-member body created by a statute or executive order. Here, the Youth Empowerment Commission is a state body that was created by the legislature in statute, so it is subject to the Act. And additionally, an advisory board, commission, committee, subcommittee, or similar multi-member advisory unit if created by formal action of the body or a member of the body. So if the commission here was to create a subcommittee, that committee would also be subject to the Act. And the Act applies upon appointment to the state body. Next slide. So what does the Act govern? The Act governs the administration and conduct of the meetings of a state body. So in terms of the question of how that applies to you as commissioners, the question is, does the Act govern the conduct of the members of the body? Next slide. And the answer is that yes, Bagley Keene does govern member conduct insofar as the member conduct constitutes a meeting. And what a meeting is defined very specifically under Bagley Keene. There are several elements that make up a meeting. So first is a majority of the body. Here, I believe this is a 15-member body, so that'd be 8 members. Second, the majority meets in a meeting to discuss or deliberate within something within the state body's subject matter. And whether or not a meeting takes place is very important because Bagley-Keene prohibits meetings unless they are publicly noticed. So in this today, you are participating in a publicly noticed meeting. You know, we posted a notice that this meeting was happening 10 days ago on our website, along with an agenda, and it's also posted physically at the location of your meeting. So this is a permissible meeting under Bagley-Keene. But if you, a majority of the members after this meeting concluded were to leave and to start talking about issues within the commission's subject matter, then that could be an impermissible meeting under the Act. Next slide. So in addition to meetings in which a majority of members are located within one conversation, the Act also prohibits serial meetings. And a serial meeting is a series of communications, each which involves less than a majority of the state body, but which taken as a whole involve a majority of the state body's members. Member representatives of the state body are also prohibited from using a series of communications with other members to discuss an item within the state body's subject matter. Next slide. So what does this mean? Let's take an example. So let's say the Grant Awards Board has 7 members and an agenda item awarding grant funds to 10 out of 20 projects that submitted timely grant applications. Member A calls member B to talk about how great one of the grant applications was that didn't get recommended for funding, and that should be considered more carefully. Member B calls member C on the same topic, and then member C calls member D on the same topic. This is a classic serial meeting scenario. Even if members B, C, and D did not indicate that they had spoken to or knew the positions of the other members, it's still a serial meeting that is prohibited by the Bagley-Keene Act. Next slide. Let's take another example. So let's say commission staff communicates individually with each agency board member in advance of a regularly scheduled, noticed, agendized meeting. So this would generally be permissible under the Bagley-Keene Act, so long as the staff member is not sharing the position or comments of any other members of the commission. So Tanisha might reach out to each member of the commission and talk to them about logistical issues or answer questions, but she cannot tell one commissioner what another commissioner has said or what their position is. She basically can't act as a conduit to share the positions of other members. And also, when materials are distributed to all members of the body, those materials need to be made available for public review unless they are somehow protected. Like, for example, if it's written legal advice. Next slide. So one more example. So the chair of a 5-member grant awards board directs 2 members to attend a site visit and report back to the full board at its next meeting. So this would be a permissible meeting under the Bagley-Keene Act. This is a 5-member body, and 2 members are less than a 3-member majority. So they do not trigger meeting requirements. Next slide. And then finally, to kind of wrap us up today, let's go through a few additional scenarios that are not meetings under the Bagley-Keene Act. So the first is social gatherings. So this is not a meeting so long as the members are not discussing the subject matter of the commission. Conferences that are open to the public and involve members of matters of general concern. This is also not a meeting, but the members must not deliberate with each other on the commission's business except as part of scheduled public program. So one example could be if a commission member was to participate in a panel about a topic that is within the commission's jurisdiction at a public conference that is regularly scheduled, and a majority of the other commissioners were to attend and observe, that would be permissible under this exception. Open meetings organized by an individual or organization or by another state body. These are not a meetings, but a majority of the state body must not deliberate on a matter within its subject matter, except as part of the scheduled meeting program. And finally, standing committees. So for example, if this commission was to create a subcommittee consisting of less of a majority of the members of the commission, and other commission members wanted to attend this subcommittee that weren't committee members, they are completely able to join as long as they attend only as observers and do not participate in the subcommittee meeting. And that's it for me. I guess I'll leave space if there are any questions.
Are there any questions or comments from the commission on this item?
I just wanted to say thank you, Ms. Clark, for presenting and giving us this information. And I really appreciate you taking the time to share this with us.
Are there any other comments from the commission? We will now take any public comments related to this agenda item on the Bagley-Keene Act overview.
There are no public comments for this item. Back to you.
We will now move on to the executive director's report from Director Wallace.
Thank you, Chair Pope. So I have a director's report that again is very high level as we work to stand up the work of the commission. This report will be available on our website as part of our meeting materials for today. So I'll begin with some organization updates, staffing updates, talk about some of the program updates, what our stakeholder engagement has looked like to date, and end with our strategic planning process. So to begin with, for those who may not be aware, the Youth Empowerment Commission was established by Assembly Bill AB 46, Statutes of 2021, authored by Assemblywoman Luz Rivas, with the following directives for our commission. We have the ability to examine and discuss policy and fiscal issues affecting the interests, needs, and conditions of youth of California, to advise and make recommendations to the legislature, superintendent of public instruction, and the governor on specific legislation and fiscal issues impacting youth throughout our state, to provide meaningful opportunities for civic engagement with community and youth organizations to identify pressing issues and priorities of our work, to draft model legislation that addresses these issues relating to youth that may be adapted by members of the legislature, to provide testimony during committee meetings in the legislature, and to appoint advisory committees from within its membership or from outside members when necessary. Regarding the appointments, Governor Gavin Newsom appointed the executive director, myself, in February 2024, as well as 14 youth commissioners in January 2024, with 11 members being voting and 3 as alternates. The Senate appointed and announced the commissioner in January of 2023, and the Speaker of Assembly appointed and announced the commissioner in August of 2022. The commission staff were initially within the Governor's Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation, but effective July 1st, 2024, we are now embedded within the Governor's Office of Service and Community Engagement, along with California Volunteers and the Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communication. I am very excited to announce that we now have a web page that is live that launched the first week of September. If you have not checked it out, please do so. Our webpage is still being developed, so we ask for your patience with us as we work to build our team member capacity and to also initiate a newsletter to keep you all informed on the work of the commission. Moving on to staffing updates. We have a small but mighty team. Ms. Raynell Davis, who is back at our welcome table. Raynell joined our team in June of 2024 as the executive assistant to both the Racial Equity and Youth Empowerment Commissions. Raynell is a retired annuitant and brings 40 years of state-level experience to the commissions. Raynell is a critical member to our team in the administrative support that she provides, as well as her collaboration in meeting and logistics. She's also a great hugger if you need hug and support. Thank you, Ms. Raynell. Joyce Chow of Abundance Consulting is supporting the Youth Empowerment Commission with our strategic planning process and in the areas of providing project management, meeting planning, and facilitation, as well as note-taking. Joyce, please stand up so we can just acknowledge you and say thank you. Joyce is amazing and an integral part of our team in preparing for today's meeting and our future planning. As I mentioned, that she will be a key member in our strategic planning process. Jennifer Serrano. Thank you. Jennifer joins the commission staff as our senior program analyst. With experience with local and state government and knowledge in youth development and advocacy, Jennifer will support in leading the commission and community and stakeholder engagement efforts and meeting planning and the development of our commission's recommendations. We are currently still seeking 2 FTE positions. Those positions will be posted at the end of next week. So please, if you know anyone who is excited about youth work and empowering and elevating youth voice, please send them our way. Regarding program updates, since my appointment, I have been trying to learn the lay of the land and really get a high-level asset analysis of youth work across the state. As you can imagine, there are so many. But I want to mention my work with the Racial Equity Commission. Back in May of 2024, I co-facilitated an activity with the COCO Community Coalition Group in South Los Angeles. First of all, this is an amazing organization doing great work, and it was really an honor to share that space with the Racial Equity team and the youth in that space. COCO is an organization that provides training to BIPOC activists and organizers to support them in their power building. The activity centered on the learning from youth, parents, and community members about the concerns of their school districts and community disparities. And it was really great in informing some of the priorities that were established by our commission and our charge to really connect with our education systems and understand where those inequities lie and how we can support in elevating those concerns. I've also connected with the inaugural executive director of the LA County Youth Commission to inform our strategic planning process. That commission is doing similar work and working with elevating the youth of system-impacted youth. And I think learning their process and seeing how they've been very intentional about incorporating that voice and how they're engaging with community mindfully is something that we absolutely want to consider as we develop our own. I've also shared space with the California Child Welfare Council and just sat in on a conversation regarding guaranteed income for underserved transitional age youth and educational rights holders or foster youth. I'm also trying to see how the commission can become more embedded in that process and learning about system-impacted youth to inform our work moving forward. I've also participated in an interview with the California Labor and Workforce Development Agency to discuss key challenges and barriers faced by young adults in the workforce. I think as we talk about empowering young people, we have to be very mindful in our approach to preparing them to step into different workforces. Understanding how do we reach those marginalized communities that aren't often brought into space to hear their concerns about proper training, about proper leadership and mentorship in various areas. So more information and partnership to come with the Department of Workforce, with the California Labor Workforce Development Agency. Also want to note some external stakeholders and state agencies that I've partnered with. I won't list them all. They are, as I mentioned, will be available in my report that will be posted online. But to name a few, the UC Berkeley Possibility Lab, who are present here today and will provide a overview of our training. They have been great partners in this work as we really begin to see how we want to approach building this commission and setting our priorities. transitioning into commission priorities. With our commission members being various ages, our ages represent or range from 14 through 25, with various experience, both educational and professional. We want to make sure that we start out with some level setting of training opportunities to really prepare our commissioners to take on their charge. So we, as I mentioned, have partnered with UC Berkeley so that they can provide this comprehensive training to our commissioners. Some will include research and project design, data collection and analysis and dissemination. I won't go too deep into that because, as I mentioned, they'll be providing an overview today of what that training will look like. The schedule for this training is still being developed, but we will make it a public meeting and have that training available in our public meeting so that youth leaders from community can also join in to learn the information that is being shared with our commissioners. As I mentioned in our strategic planning process, from engaging with various stakeholders, both internal and external, we have learned that there are a lot of parallel going on with youth services across the state, which has encouraged us to prioritize youth homelessness, mental health, and education as the top 3 priorities for our commission. The Possibility Lab will be providing data that really supports why those 3 areas should be prioritized based on the state of the youth in our state. Our commission will collaborate with Joyce Chow, as I mentioned, in partnering to develop this strategic planning process. And we are also connecting with another external organization that will facilitate that process for us. In that strategic plan, we hope to capture the approach of engaging youth throughout the state. We want to do that mindfully. As we know the power of listening sessions, we also know that community is burdened with that responsibility to constantly share their truths. So partnering with the organization who already has access to key information, to reports that are very recent, to networks that are representative of folks with lived experience, we want to leverage the community and the experience that are already in existence and who are prepared to do that work. So more information will come in our next meeting about the process of our strategic planning efforts, and a timeline will also be provided in our following meeting. I'd like to end with some special acknowledgements. I want to say thank you to the Governor's Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation for their unwavering support and just making sure that our team really had all that we need to make today possible. Special mention to our IT team, our legal team, human resources, and our executive leadership. You are all truly appreciated in your support leading up to this meeting and in our final hours of today. Thank you to the Governor's Office of Service and Community Engagement for your support as well in ensuring today's meeting was possible, especially with the traveling of our commissioners traveling from all over the state. Thank you to the staff of both the Land Use and Climate Innovation and GoServe for helping the staff to staff this meeting today. I have a special acknowledgement to Dr. Larissa Estes. I truly appreciate you. This work is not easy, and since day one, you have been a rock in my corner and very supportive in helping to guide the work of this commission in partnership with the Racial Equity Commission. So I'm excited about that continued partnership and seeing what good trouble we can get into together. Thank you, Jennifer Serrano, again, ma'am. Your dedication to this commission is undoubtable, and I think that's been seen by everyone in this room today and before stepping into this room. So thank you. I don't think today would have been possible without you making sure that all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed, so I appreciate you. To the members of the administration for their ongoing guidance and support in elevating youth voice in California, we thank you. And to the inaugural Youth Commission members, I thank you for your commitment, advocacy, and service. I am truly honored to share this journey with you. Tonight has been amazing, and I'm excited to get to work with you all.
Thank you so much for that, Executive Director Wallace. And with that, are there any discussion, questions, or comments from the commission on this item?
I did have some questions. I also want to thank you, Director Wallace, for your remarks and for your very thorough report. And I also want to echo your thanks to Jennifer, the executive leadership of the commission, and any other agency or individual that helped to make tonight a reality. But going back to the program updates, I had two questions. My first being, with the interviews and some of the conversations that were had with the stakeholders, are we allowed access to the interview questions and answers in the agendas? Or I know you mentioned the information will be disclosed in the report. So will we only have the information in the report, or do we have access to the other?
Those conversations were more informal.
Okay.
With the strategic planning process and those who will be involved in that process, that you will have information to that.
Okay, perfect. And then my last question is for the strategic plan. If they, I'm assuming we'll probably have ad hoc committees for our three priorities. Are the ad hoc committees limited to only 2 active members, the 2 active commission members? Or
In
did I
order
misread?
to not be subject to Bagley-Keene requirements, I recommend we keep it to 2.
Okay.
If we have more than that, then they will have to be public meetings. But I would recommend that, based on our priorities and with the strategic planning process, that we do create, or you all create ad hoc committees.
So
to
more
inform
than
those.
3. We're allowed to have more than 3 ad hoc committees, right? There's no limit?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion, questions, or comments from the commission?
Echoing my thanks to Executive Director Wallace, to Jennifer for helping us all get here today, whether we drove or flew or all that kind of stuff. So thank you, Jennifer, and to everyone else who made this possible as well. I just had a quick question about the commissioner that was appointed by the Speaker of the Assembly in August 2022. Did their term expire? Are they with us today?
Their term did expire.
Okay.
We're currently in conversation about how to move forward with that, with the Speaker's office.
So are we supposed to have 16 people, or what is the total?
13 voting members.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments from the commissioners before we move forward?
So to clarify, do we have 13 voting members or 11 voting members?
Currently 12 voting members and 3 alternates.
Any more questions, comments? All right, then we shall move forward. Really quickly, I would like to echo the other commissioners and say on behalf of the commission, thank you to everyone who has helped make this event possible and all of the work that you've put in. And with that, we would like to hear from the public on comments related to this agenda item of the Executive Director's report.
Thank you. As a reminder, to submit in-person public comment, you can pick up a public comment card by the sign-in table outside or on any of the podiums located up here at the front of this room, and return it to us up here at any moment prior to the agenda item you wish to comment on. There is no public comment for this item. Back to you, Chair Pope.
Our next agenda item is commission training and priorities. The Possibility Lab is here with us today to share about a training opportunity for the commission as we embark on our work. The Possibility Lab is a team of policy researchers and practitioners at UC Berkeley who partner with government and community to design, pilot, and scale data-driven innovations for the public good. I will now invite Amy Lerman, Executive Director and Principal Investigator, and Jesse Melgar, Senior Advisor for Strategy and Public Affairs, from the Possibility Lab to provide an overview.
Extraordinary pleasure to be here with you all. It's been just such a privilege to watch as this body comes together. And I think the work you have been tasked to do is both exciting and daunting. The scope of what you can accomplish together is vast. And so deciding where your priorities are and how to spend your time and how to really make sure that what you do has impact is, I think, going to be probably the biggest challenge, given all of the places you could focus your time. And so I think the strategic planning process will be really valuable in helping you to hone a really specific agenda. And as you do that, we are so excited to be here to support you. The Possibility Lab is an organization at UC Berkeley, and I'm a professor at Berkeley, joint between public policy and political science. And my role at the Possibility Lab is to bring together a team. We're about 30 people, some researchers, some graduate students, some former practitioners from state government and from local government, some folks who come out of community and community organizing, and we all come together to design, pilot, and scale, which essentially means we try out new ideas. We talk to people, we do a ton of reading, and we think about where the opportunities are for reform and how we can try them out and test them and see if they work. That's the thing about new ideas. If they're really new, they haven't been tested. And so thinking about both what we expect them to do and then also how we know whether they do what we expected. And so we really focus on bringing data and evidence to problem solving. How do we learn as we go? How do we evaluate as we go? So we think about what data are available and what data we can collect and how we really think about improving people's lives. In addition, one of our big focus is how we do a better job bringing community and government together. And this is a primary area of our research that I think can be helpful as you all think about how to engage with communities that you represent, that you come from, that you're hoping to learn from and hear from. And so really thinking about all the tools at your disposal. We do a lot of work thinking about how we go beyond a town hall or a focus group, but how we use all of the various ways that we can think about engaging with communities. So that's digital tools, it's surveys, it's bringing together people at the local level and then filtering up to the state level, really thinking creatively about how we can gather the insights from large groups of people and turn them into actionable information that you all can use as you think about making recommendations. And so as you all think about your work, several of the partners that we already work with have been mentioned tonight. And one of the things that I want to point out is that it's not just us supporting you, it's all of state government. And as a commission of state government, draw on the resources of all of these incredible people who are excited to work with you and who are doing all of this amazing work within state government. You are entering into a collection of innovators. California is really lucky to have incredible people who work in state government, and they will open their doors to you. That's the beauty of being part of a commission, right? Use that as an opportunity to introduce yourself to the agencies and departments and staff within state government who are doing work that you can be part of, that you can learn from, that you can help advance those agendas and really bring youth and youth perspective to all of the incredible work that's happening across California. So in terms of how we're here to support you, I think one of the big things that we can do is be a resource. Think of us as a conduit to the University of California, Berkeley, and as a place that you can come to with questions and concerns. And really, as you're thinking about all of the issues that you want to take on in the in the coming months and coming year, thinking about what we know and how you can build on existing knowledge. So you have a lot of problems you could tackle, right? We know that there's massive educational inequality in America and certainly in California. And that inequality maps onto geography and race and class and ethnicity. And so really thinking about what we know about the problems of education and how it's distributed, how inequality is distributed, and really what we know about what kinds of interventions have worked in other places that might be transported to California, or what kinds of ideas have been suggested but never tried. Similarly, in the other areas that you might want to focus on, we've already heard mention of youth and mental health. I don't have to tell you all that this is a big issue. I'm sure you've seen it in your own lives or in the lives of people you care about. Right, we have a really big mental health problem among youth in this country that is really not well intervened upon. And so thinking about what role you all can play in helping to build institutions and interventions that can advance the cause of youth mental health. And again, right, we see this not equally distributed across the population, but disadvantaged youth are equally disproportionately disadvantaged when it comes to both mental health concerns and the kinds of pressures that lead to mental health concerns, but also inadequate access to support and services. Similarly, right, we know that there's a massive housing and homelessness crisis in California, and youth are a major sort of population that experiences all of the issues that come with housing and homelessness. About 92,000 infants and toddlers begin their lives homeless, right? That's a massive number. And so again, thinking about the intersection of all of these different concerns, right? That you may have separate subcommittees that work on each of the issues, but ultimately the same populations that are affected by one of these issues are affected by all. And so thinking about the intersections of all of these systems and how you can intervene across these different systems, education and housing and mental health, these are all issues that are interconnected in people's lives. So the other thing I want to mention is that one of the big challenges, I think, is going to be figuring out how you engage youth at a time when that is really difficult to do. Youth systematically vote at much lower levels than older people. And some of it is because youth have a lot going on, right? You all are really busy, which is part of why it's so extraordinary that you're committing your time to this effort. And one of the things that you can do is be a champion for participation for youth more generally, finding ways of making your voice heard, but also of making others' voices heard. And so representing youth as a whole and thinking about how you provide opportunities for engagement for youth statewide and how you really encourage a sense of civic engagement. And this is an issue that California, with Cal Volunteers and other efforts, has been a leader on and can continue to champion. And obviously, the reason to get involved is because youth have a particular stake in the future. Climate is the obvious place, right? These sort of long-term challenges that the state is going to face, the investments that we make now and the decisions that are made by policymakers today are going to have long downstream impacts. And so youth are the ones who may not be voting at the highest rates, but have the biggest stake. And so how do we make sure that the decisions that are made today reflect the needs and preferences and priorities of young people? And that's really what you all are tasked with, which is, as I will say again, a really big job. So thank you for taking it on. In terms of sort of our partnership, think of us as a training resource. What you want to do, to the extent that you want support with it, we are here to do that. So we've come up with a sort of a short list of the kinds of trainings we think might be useful to some or all of you, but ultimately, it's up to you, right? What are the things that you think will be valuable to learn? So we can talk about sort of policy 101, how does policy get made in the state of California? Developing research questions, how do you think about the kinds of questions that might already have been answered by researchers or the kinds of questions that you all want to research yourselves and get answers to? How do you think about survey research as one tool, or participatory and community-based research methods, so bringing people together to gather people's perspectives and data, and things like how do you tell your story, how do you disseminate, how do you write an op-ed. These are all things that we can support you if you decide that any or all of them are going to be useful. But I leave it to you to set the agenda for what kind of training you need. Similarly, as you think about the kind of research that you might want to carry out, we are here to support you.
Amy, can I ask you to slow it down?
Oh,
just a
yes.
bit, just for translation services? They're
course.
having a hard time.
I
translating.
grew up on the East Coast. We talk faster. Yes, thank you. I would be happy to slow down. People in my classes complain all the time that they cannot write as fast as I talk. So it is very hard to take notes. As you think about the research you want to carry out, I think there are a couple of big categories of research that might be valuable to you as you think about pursuing your work. One is, how do you get data on the scope of the problem? And so thinking about what you might want to know. So say you want to look at a heat map of educational inequality in California. You want to look at where it's higher or lower, where it's concentrated, among what populations, at what grade level it starts, how that affects trajectories into college. Getting just a sense of what the landscape of the problem is so that you know where to direct your efforts. That's one big category. A second might be thinking about interventions. What do we know about what has worked? What do we know about what's been tried either in other countries or other states that might be transportable to California? How do we think about what might not be transportable, or what kinds of ideas are testable and how we would test them? And then the third category is really trying to figure out how we get input from communities. And that might be how we think about what kinds of perspectives youth have, or different groups of youth have, or how that varies across the youth population. It might be getting youth to weigh in on how they want to prioritize things, or how they think about making different kinds of trade-offs. So as you all think about representing not only your perspectives, but the voices of Californians as a whole, thinking about how you collect that information in a really systematic and rigorous way, and how you communicate it as part of your work and use it to inform your recommendations. So think of me as your friendly neighborhood professor on call. Let me know how I can be useful. If I don't know the answer, I will connect you to the right people at my team or across the university. And I am so excited to see all the incredible work you all are going to do. Thanks.
Thank you, Amy, for sharing this overview. I would like to reiterate, when we speak, it would be fantastic if we could just slow it down a little bit for our translators. All right, we will now enter a discussion for commissioners to share thoughts on the training topics and if they would recommend any other priority trainings to support them in the work. Are there any discussion, questions, or comments from the commission on this item?
Point of information. Professor, I have a question. Professor, thank you so much to you and the Possibility Lab for offering your generous support to the commission. I mean, the training and the research and dissemination that you've generously offered is going to be very important to the work we do here on the commission. I do have a question. I'm sure that the work you do and the work that the lab does has limited time and resources. And to be mindful of that and respect that, I'd like to know, are there any guidelines on budgeting or resource constraints on the requests that we make as a commission to the lab?
That is a great question. Right now, I would say let's think big, right? And if we need additional resources, then we'll help look for them. But I think the goal is to really define the agenda that you all want to carry out, and then we'll work together to figure out how to make that possible.
Great, thank you so much.
Any additional questions, comments, or concerns? And does the commission have any suggestions for any other priority trainings to support them in the work?
Just as a quick point, I know you really talked about like voting turnout within youth, and I think it's also really incredible that it is election season. So thank you so much. Enormous gratitude to you for being able to share that with us as well. I was really wondering more about what it looks like to ensure access to these resources, only because I would like to know more on how you're meeting youth where they're at. I mean, we already see the low numbers in voting turnouts, excuse me. So what does the plan of action look like? What steps has the organization taken?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we talk to so many organizations that are thinking about these questions, particularly around election time. So thinking about how you help lower the barrier to voting for all kinds of populations, how you think about in California, pre-registration. So registration among 16 and 17-year-olds, that's a huge opportunity to get people into the voting pipeline. How you make it really easy for people to vote, whether it's vote by mail or locating polling sites on college campuses or in youth and we've worked on thinking about like how you put voter sites in jails, right? So that people who are incarcerated during an election can vote. Really thinking about all of the creative ways that we can make it really easy. But I would say even beyond elections, what builds the capacity and the interest to vote is all of the things that happen outside of election day. And so really thinking about how you engage people in a way that makes it clear to them that they are government, right? That government isn't a separate thing. It is how we organize ourselves as a citizenry, as a population to solve problems that affect us all. And so if we reframe government as really being just a vehicle by which we come together for problem solving, then we start to see opportunities where we can take the issues that matter the most to us and bring them in to government to solve together. And I think that's the kind of spirit that I think is going to encourage particularly young people who have been part of a really dysfunctional sort of government system to think not of government as something that happens in Washington where people scream at each other, but something that happens at home and that can be a way to address the issues that matter to them in their daily lives. And I think that's such an exciting opportunity.
Thank you. I also just had a question. It's also a question / suggestion, but would there be any way for us to kind of go over or kind of tackle how after we implement these research projects and have these designed policies or recommendations to implement also something that has that follow-up step? I think something that's lacking a lot in current legislation and just in a lot of these great endeavors is that there's a lack of follow-up, there's a lack of seeing where these things go, where these projects go. So if we could get some training or some information or some guidance through that, I think that would be really helpful.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lerman, again. I just had a question on, and maybe this is a suggestion as well, but I know that we discussed at the beginning with the organizational report that our priorities are going to be youth homelessness, mental health, and education. And I think that a lot of the commissioners have unique experiences relating each of these topics, but not many of us have, experienced or understand all three of them. And so maybe some kind of briefing on these three larger topic areas so that we can start coming up with ideas would be something to think about. And maybe that's something the Possibility Lab is already doing work on.
Fantastic. Yes, we would be happy to help do a kind of lay of the land, just an overview of what we know in each of those areas so that everybody has a shared baseline of information.
I just wanted to piggyback off of some stuff that Maddie said. I do like what she said. I think that there needs to be more follow-up when we pass legislation. I think policy is a big thing, and so I'm happy to see a training on policy in the suggestions. But I do think that we also need to be able to have an adjustable lens. Like we have a very big statewide lens with this commission, but we need to understand that California is huge and is very diverse. And I think that as somebody who comes from a very rural part of California that not many people know about, many people forget about, but there's so many people there, and that's where a major part of our economy even is. So many people are being overlooked and so many people are not being listened to simply because the people in power aren't there. And so a lot of legislation gets passed without taking those people into consideration and taking into consideration the different capacity and the different needs of different counties. And so I do think that we need to place an emphasis on that and look at how not only how this can be implemented in LA, but how this can be implemented in Humboldt or Fresno or like all these different places, because I do think that we kind of generalize a lot in legislation. And I think that there needs to be more guidance and support when it comes to local levels.
I do want to comment on that. Thank you for that comment, Shay. And that was part of the intention of this legislation, is to make sure that we have commissioners who are representative of those various regions. One, to leverage your experience directly, your lived experience, but also to travel with you in those communities and other rural communities to make sure that we are going to those spaces where government isn't typically listening or present to make sure that we're capturing their voice. So in our strategic planning process, we do hope to also include that as a process of how do we go into community and gather the voices of the unheard.
I would like to echo that. As someone who's also from a rural community in California, I value being inclusive and having a lot of outreach activities. So if we could try to prioritize that as well, try to figure out strategic outreach.
Yeah, we talk a lot about both sampling and recruitment, right? Sampling meaning who you reach out to and making sure that they're representative by all of the different kinds of things we think of, including geography. And then recruitment, how do we make sure that we're really getting to all of the people and not just the people who are the most likely to step up and actually voice their opinion. So both of those, when you do outreach, are so critical. And thinking about how you do that strategically and in a very smart way.
Yeah, another thing that I just wanted to add is a big thing that I think that we say we think about, but we don't think about as in depth as I'd like, is accessibility. Because not just accessibility when it comes to disabilities, when it comes to language barriers, when it comes to educational barriers, but when it comes to technology barriers, there's so many different barriers that come with just life and where you grew up, how you grew up. And so as somebody who has experienced those barriers, I do think that we need to take that into consideration and think about the different types of accessibility that we need to include in this commission. Like I can already say, like even just youth accessibility, because I think that a lot of the reason why youth aren't involved in government is because it isn't accessible. Like no offense, but I can tell you right now, this meeting itself isn't accessible to youth, and it's not because of anybody here that is necessarily like not wanting youth here, but it's how the government is set up. It's how the rules and regulations are set up. It's set up as not welcoming youth, not welcoming people without the education to understand the background. And so that can both look like looking at our policies and practices when it comes to our meetings, but I think it also looks at, again, outreach and how we go and talk to people, because technology is a big thing that we use to do outreach, but not everybody has technology. There's a lot of language barriers. There's a lot of educational barriers. If people don't know, then it's just, they're not going to be able to participate. And so taking all of those things into account, the different types of accessibility, not just when it comes to disabilities like we usually think of, or language barriers, but when it comes to all those types of barriers, I think is a huge, huge part in our practices.
Thank you, Commissioner. In the interest of time, we do have to move on, but thank you so much for those points. Do any of our commissioners over Zoom have a comment? Sarah?
Hello, I had a comment regarding social media practices and if there was any direction about where we were going to go with that. Something I would definitely be interested in, and I think speaks to a lot of the outreach points that the other commissioners have brought up, is just about increasing awareness and accessibility. And I think because this month is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, it would be a great opportunity to really highlight that and the work that we're doing, given that mental health is such a youth crisis. So I don't know, I'm a crisis line counselor in California. That's something I'm very passionate about. So if anyone is interested in doing that, or just any sort of social media awareness campaigns in the future, I think that is definitely an avenue for us to explore.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Sarah.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and really quickly, do we have any public comments related to the agenda item for commission training and priorities?
There are no public comment for this item.
All right, thank you. Moving on. One last time, thank you so much, Amy, and everyone at the Possibility Lab. You are fantastic for all of your work, and we appreciate you. All right. Agenda item number 10 is elevating youth voice in policy and legislation. For this discussion, I would like to welcome, I'm so sorry, Siobhan Wilkes. Executive Director of the California Coalition for Youth, to share about the importance of youth involvement in our policymaking and legislative process. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Y'all basically have already exemplified both of these. Your voice has been heard today. Y'all voted to bring forth a chair, a vice chair. Y'all are going through opportunities to learn about what is going to be important in regards to your priorities moving forward. So I want you to acknowledge right now the impact that you have already made. You've already made the commitment. You're already doing the work. And it's uphill from here. And when I say uphill, that also means that you'll be going uphill with a boulder. You've heard from Alex, you've heard from LaShawn, you've heard from Tamisha, or as I like what y'all say, Director Wallace. Y'all have so much pressure on you. But the beautiful thing that I've seen time and time again is young people step up for not just this generation, but 7 generations to come and even 7 generations to go. So one thing that y'all have also done as individuals with power is go over time. Okay, so y'all already in the midst of doing the work. Okay, so we're gonna get these slides going. So I'm Javon Wilkes, Executive Director with the California Coalition for Youth. Let me see if I can go back. You can go back. Bam. Next one. Okay. I'm with the California Coalition for Youth, and we were part of the construction of AB 46. So y'all living part of my dream, okay? Our whole mission is to improve and empower the lives of California's youth with a focus, of course, on all youth, but a focus on youth experiencing homelessness, disconnection, and instability. When we're talking about folks being in this room, I know it's past some of our bedtime, and I include myself in that. But that's the reason why we're here, because we want to support y'all's success. And in that, this resource, the California Youth Crisis Line, and I believe one of the commissioners has actually supported this line in volunteering and serving other young folks. When it comes to this resource, this is not just available to you, but it's also available to your peers. So please share it. And then we also do our Youth Empowerment Summit every year. And as we think about this opportunity that you have right now, you are in a position of being advisors. You are in a position to use your voice to the greatest extent possible, but it doesn't stop here. It does not stop here, because there's power in your voice now more than ever. You're the first commissioners. I get to call you commissioner. Hold people to that, but hold yourself accountable to that and what it brings. And what that means is when it comes to improving the lives of your peers, of your community, you are now held responsible. That weight is serious. I've been doing this work for over 2 decades. I've spent majority of my youth and my entire adult life supporting and lifting up young people. And again, it is beautiful to see that you are all here as commissioners. So trailblazing is real, but y'all lighted the torch. And then, as I said, 7 generations pass. We can go back to the next slide, or last slide. Uplifting one another. I saw the tenacity, the audacity, the spiciness, the kingship, queenship of how y'all were like, okay, who gonna lead us? And when I saw that, I also saw that there is leadership amongst every last one of you to lift each other up. Because there's no lifting up our community if y'all not lifting each other up. That same tenacity that you brought to be in positions of power, bring that same tenacity when it comes to lifting up your community. Again, 7 generations past, 7 generations to come. And y'all don't have to do it alone. You have individuals like myself who are ready to stand guard, who's ready to let people know, hey, y'all said y'all was gonna do this, it's time. Because the time was yesterday for me. The time was in 2020 and before that. Because we know 2020, that pandemic came, and there is no one in more proximity than you to the needs of young people who had to endure that level of suffering that has not dissipated just yet. So in that, lift yourselves up. We can go to the next slide. These folks on this slide are individuals that really came together for AB 46. Alliance for Boys and Men of Color, Mi Familia Vota, the California Association for Schools Councils, the San Francisco Youth Commission, the California Youth Connection, and of course, the California Coalition for Youth. We stood to make sure that this was possible. And what I know some folks have been waiting for 19 months, we have been too. This has been a priority for us, regardless of all the things that run across our desk in regards to policy. Now we got ballots. When LaShawn said read, I see y'all taking it serious, flipping through the pages, getting ready for the next item. There's going to be some work before this, but the next one. We're here to support you. And of course, this is all possible, next slide, with the support of Assemblywoman Luz Rivas. And then the governor signed off on that. He made it law, y'all. Ain't no going back, because we can't go back. We can't redeem the lives that have been lost, but we can redeem the lives that are currently enduring the most amount of suffering. Again, y'all commissioners now. And I am going to be looking to you as you look to me to support you in getting us to the next stages of what California means for everyone. So with that, we can go to the next slide. It's a huge thank you for stepping up, stepping forward, and using your voice already. Remember, that fire that y'all bring, y'all really got it more than me. And I say I'm 35, okay? Majority of my adulthood has been dedicated and will continue, because the fight ain't over, okay? So it's with peace and love to each and every one of you. And afterwards, as we leave, this is going to be on record, because remember the back of cane and all that stuff that y'all got to deal with now. I have some pens, the pen that I have on me, for each of you in gratitude and fortitude and moving us forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Put a big smile on my face. All right, are there any discussion, questions, or comments from the commission on this?
I have a very brief comment. I just want to say thank you for your encouragement. I know this is a new position for all of us, and we're all very excited, as well as little tints of nervous here and there. But hearing your encouragement was very empowering. Feeling very uplifted and excited to step into this. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Echo Commissioner Ramirez's statement. Thank you, Executive Director Wilkes. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Your words are very meaningful, and they were well received.
Sarah, I see you want to speak. Commissioner Sarah.
As someone that has been volunteering at the California Youth Crisis Line for the past year and a half, it means a lot to see you here today, Executive Director Wilkes. And thank you so much for your encouragement, for believing in us, and especially last year when I was first writing about my mental health story, you made me feel really safe, encouraged, and empowered. So thank you for bringing the energy with all the work that you do and for being here today.
All right, and without further ado, to start wrapping the night up, the commission will now take public comment for matters not on the agenda. This is not a forum for dialogue with the commissioners. Questions posed by the public during this item cannot be substantively addressed or discussed at this meeting. Any required follow-up can be directed to Youth Empowerment Commission Executive Director Tamisha Wallace for follow-up answers and connections to relevant staff. As a reminder, public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker.
Thank you. We've received one virtual public comment for this item. When you hear your name, please raise your hand using the unmute function. One of our team members will then go ahead and unmute you. You will have a maximum of 2 minutes to make your public comment. Will Jason Chen raise your hand online, and then one of our team members will go ahead and unmute you.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes, Justin, loud and clear. You may begin.
Okay, awesome. Okay, there's a timer, but everyone, thank you all for being here and for your amazing service to our state. It's giving civic engagement, it's giving youth voice. I love it. My name is Jason Chen. I'm 21, originally from San Francisco, and a current senior at Stanford. I wanted to express my excitement for this historic day. It's a culmination of so much work that I was lucky to be a part of when I was in high school. I was an intern for Senator Scott Wiener from San Francisco, and taking inspiration from the San Francisco Youth Commission and being a young person myself, I began to develop a vision for the statewide Youth Commission. I was only 15 years old, but I became so passionate about the issue that as an intern, I wrote the bill, I made a budget, I asked for advice from so many adults who gave their amazing support, got the support, and helped drive with the California Coalition for Youth, who you just heard from today, and many, many others. We got the bill introduced, signed, and now it's sitting here right before our eyes. It's so cool. And as Javon said, we made a law, y'all. So I hope this goes to show what's possible when young people have big ideas. I was only 15 when the idea came. And through this whole experience, I learned more about the world than I ever could in school. And you guys will too. You know, a core part of this commission is that half of the commissioners have to have lived experience with youth homelessness, juvenile incarceration, foster care, and disability. So I'm so happy, and I deeply commend the election of the chair and vice chair. You guys seem so smart, so passionate, and I have no doubt that you'll drive forward this conversation with your lived experiences as system impacted youth. I know my time is up, but I also wanted to thank Director Wallace for standing up the commission and doing the important work. She's incredibly qualified, and from what I've seen today, she gets it. You guys are in good hands, and please let me know if you need any support. I'm here as a resource, as a friend, and Youth Commission's #1 supporter. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment.
That concludes public comment for this item.
All right, that brings us to meeting adjournment. May we adjourn the meeting by common consent?
Yes.
All right. Thank you to the Youth Empowerment Commission staff, commissioners, and public for joining us today. Our next meeting is November 2024. We will have a final date for you very soon. And with that, we are adjourned.